if we believe that nasty debate is the example of politics, then everybody's going to tune it out. And the problem, if you tune it out, is that Trump wins. Hola. As I promised you, this is going to be my recap after the first presidential debate. And as you know, I always like to give information and actionable steps. So that's what I'm going to give you in the second part of this video. Hola, mi gente linda. I am Silvia from Tono, Latino, and my passion is to inform people about politics and show them ways they can get more involved. Because politics determines everything in our lives, and getting involved is not as difficult as one might think. If you like that idea, subscribe to my channel and turn on the bell so you get notified every time I upload a new video. Let me start by acknowledging that many people have said this first presidential debate was a circus. You might use a much stronger word that starts with an S, but in case there's little ones around, I don't want to repeat it. And you're not alone. This was not only felt here inside the United States, but worldwide. I received texts from people in other parts of the world that were in absolute shock about what happened. And let's start with just in general, the debate itself. Like I said, it was 90 minutes. And we know that debates don't actually help a lot of people decide. Most people already know how they're going to vote. To be honest, I find it strange that some people might convince themselves that they will watch the debate to learn more about a candidate's policies and platform. You are better off investing those 90 minutes doing research about the candidate on your own offline versus watching them yell at each other and at the moderator. Snap polls all over the place gave this debate win to Biden. The numbers changed significantly depending on who did the poll. But in reality, I don't really see that. I mean, yes, Biden won. Trump was an absolute bully, disrespectful maniac. But I don't think we should focus on that right now. It was interesting as well because I heard on MSNBC Nicole Wallace mention how men and women were reacting differently to what was happening between Biden and Trump, and how Trump was being so aggressive and Biden was not matching the level of aggression. And I noticed what Nicole Wallace said also in my personal life from the comments I got from both my friends that were male and female. Males were frustrated that Biden wasn't being as aggressive to match Trump, and women were actually glad that he wasn't doing that to escalate the situation. Wanted to point that out. Since I already mentioned the moderator, Chris Wallace, anchor from Fox News. You probably heard all over the headlines that he was quite a disaster. And he was. He was extremely, extremely frustrating as a moderator. Before the debate even began, like days before the debate started, he did say he wasn't going to fact check anything. And that personally annoyed me so much, because then what's he going to do? You could just have a screen that displays the questions and turns off mics when the time is up. You don't need a moderator in that case, right? It also really annoyed me when he constantly would try to calm Trump down by saying, this next question is going to make you so happy, Mr. President. Things like that. I found it absolutely ridiculous. And you can see clearly which network he works for. The other thing was that really annoyed me about him during the debate were some of his comments, especially, let's start with the topic that he picked of race and violence in our cities. Just the name itself for that entire section is ridiculous. But also his references when he was talking to Joe Biden about big government and saying how Biden's climate change is going to cost a lot of money. I didn't find that to be very neutral moderating. And after the debate, it really annoyed me even more that apparently he said that what happened during the debate was completely unexpected. And I find that extremely difficult to believe because honestly, yes, the debate was an absolute circus, but it wasn't surprising. You have a bully on stage with a microphone and you're enabling him. What did you expect? That is not the most important thing that I need you to remember about this debate. There were 3 things that I want you to keep in mind that happened that maybe you missed because you decided to turn off your TV or your computer. And I understand why. There were 2 that are equally scary. One is you have probably seen the headlines or read or viewed this in the news. Trump refusing to reject white supremacists. His campaign is trying to clean up what happened on Tuesday and saying that Trump didn't know what he was saying, that maybe he couldn't hear clearly. This is not the first time this happens. Trump was receiving support from a leader of the Ku Klux Klan in 2016, and he refused to denounce him. We're seeing the same thing again. Some people might have missed it on the day of the debate because a lot of it focused on the term Proud Boys. Proud Boys is a neo-Nazi organization. He refuses to denounce the Proud Boys. The Proud Boys are a neo-Nazi organization. One of the founders of Proud Boys founded Vice News, which is a reason why I do not share links from Vice News anywhere. Unfortunately, because of what happened, this was the most successful marketing campaign for these people in their history. And that is extremely worrying given the situation we have in this country right now. The reason why Joe Biden said that he decided to run was after Trump equated white supremacists and people protesting against white supremacy in Charlottesville in 2017. And Trump called them both people. There's good people on both sides. So that's one of the scariest things that happened during that debate. The other one is closer towards the end. So if you want to go watch it, it's about the whole section on election integrity. As you know, it's been months since Trump has been undermining the efforts to help people vote by mail, vote safely, request absentee ballots. It worries a lot of people. Right now, Republicans are doing everything in their power to suppress votes. As a matter of fact, today that I'm recording this, October 1st, Texas governor decided that there will be no satellite drop-off locations for ballots. There will only be one drop-off location per county. Now, Texas, as you know, is huge. I believe Texas is about the same size as my country, Colombia. And counties can be thousands of square miles big in area. So to have only one drop-off location is absolutely ridiculous, and it's a way to suppress votes. It's a way to make it harder for people to vote, so people just will not do it. I hope you understand what is at stake in this election, and you find a way to get a ride to this vote, this ballot drop-off, or make a plan to vote early, or something else. And if you have questions, please write them in the comments or send me a DM or contact me via my website. I will answer all of those questions because I want everybody to know how to vote and how to make sure their votes count. It was a huge contrast to watch Trump continue to undermine the election and the electoral process at the same time as Biden is encouraging people to vote and publicly stating that he will accept the results of the election. One thing I need everybody to not only understand, but also to share with as many people as possible. We're not going to learn the results of this election on November 3rd. That's going to be the beginning of election week. And we have to push back against media sources that want to call winners when no winner can be safely called in an election. Because Trump kept talking about ballots being thrown out unfairly in Pennsylvania. Yes, in Pennsylvania, 9,000, not 900,000, 9 ballots were thrown out in the trash. Somehow they happen to be Trump ballots. I don't understand why we know who these ballots were for. That part is irrelevant. It was an accident. The reason why these ballots were thrown out is because a temporary worker in that electoral office threw them out accidentally because they were military ballots that were mailed back and they didn't use the traditional envelope or something like that. That doesn't mean that voting by mail causes fraud. It does not. If you don't believe me, watch this video on voting by mail and the fraud rate of voting by mail. So those are the two things that really scare me about what happened during the debate. The other thing that I wanted to highlight was something that really connected with me and with a lot of people. Trump was attacking and interrupting Biden over and over and over and over. We know this, right? I think I read a headline today that he interrupted him over 120 times in 90 minutes. So do the math. But one of the most horrible parts about that debate was when Trump started attacking Biden's sons. Biden happens to have a son, Beau Biden, who died, I believe, from brain cancer. He was an attorney general for Delaware, and he was a veteran. He died. His other son, Hunter Biden, is alive. And Hunter Biden had a drug addiction. He is now in recovery. For somebody to attack somebody's son in one of the biggest stages in the world with such lack of compassion, I don't know. Just, it was absolutely horrible. But here's the part that I want you to think about. Biden did not get rattled. So this strategy from the Trump campaign completely backfired on them. Biden looked straight at the camera and talked about how proud he is of both his sons, the one that passed away and the one that is still alive, who overcame his addiction. And I know that connected with a lot of people who know somebody who's had a history of substance abuse and knows the struggle to recovery. So that is the recap that I'm going to give you. And now I'm going to talk about my closing statements and ideas of what we can do. One important thing that I want to highlight is don't let this circus of 90 minutes turn you off from politics. This was not politics. This was a circus. So I understand if you do not want to watch political debates because, like I said at the beginning of this video, I don't think they really educate you on a candidate's platform or their policies. And this was absolutely nasty. But politics determine our entire lives. They determine what happens with our roads, with our schools, the water that we drink, the education for our children, the businesses, business regulations, etc. So I don't want you to think that this is politics, because if we believe that that nasty debate is the example of politics, then everybody's going to tune it out. And the problem, if you tune it out, is that Trump wins. Again, if we tune out, they win. Right now, we need to be paying more attention and holding our elected officials accountable, because like I said, this determines our lives. And right now, even more, every year, it's becoming more and more clear, something like climate change is something that needs action now if we are going to survive a few more generations on this planet. So let's get to work. I am an introvert. You've heard me say this. I do not like talking on the phone. I hate talking on the phone. But this election is so important that I signed up to do phone banking, to call people in critical states and encourage them to vote. Not just that, I also signed up for the National Voter Assistance Hotline in Spanish so that I can help Spanish voters when they have questions that are not easily answered on a website. So if you want to join me, click the links underneath this video to sign up to do phone banking. They give you the training, they give you the tools. You just need to call somebody and say like, hey, do you have a plan to vote? I will be making a video for you to show you a little bit more about how that experience works, because I personally like to know what I'm signing up for. So if that's helpful, give me a thumbs up in the comments. And that concludes my summary of the first presidential debate. Remember, October 7th is going to be the one and only VP debate between Kamala Harris and Mike Pence. Okay, so remember, subscribe to my channel, turn on the bell, and I'll see you again very soon. Ciao.